I'll be Peter. You can be Jan.
Marsha.
Oh yeah, you want to be Marsha. I just had a crush on both. I had a crush on Jan, but there were two Jans, weren't there? There were two Jans.
No.
Yeah, there were.
There were not.
There were. I'm telling
That must
you.
bewitched. There were two Darrens or.
There were two Darrens. That's
No, there
right.
were
But
not
there were
two Jans.
there were two Jan.
Oh my! Is he seriously going to
I
question
think
my
it's
Brady
a
Bunch
little- no,
trivia?
Well, you know what?
When it
That's
went
a good
to
point.
movies. When it went to movies.
No, I'm telling
There
you,
were not
there were
two
two
Jans.
Jans in the show.
Never.
Maybe there was the one
Research.
you watched and the one
Never.
you dreamed about when you
Research.
went to bed at night.
He's wrong.
This is Eve
somewhat
Bushman. This is Eve Bushman. We were going to talk about wine now, and the Sierra Pelona Wine Festival is coming up at the end of January.
Right,
in a
January
couple of weeks.
26th.
So we've of course been up there. We've done a couple of our shows up there, and Robert Reyes is a terrific host.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great event coming up to benefit Henry Mayo Newhall Memorial Hospital. But we're here to talk wine specifically and to educate ourselves a little bit more on some wine etiquette. I think is a
Right,
good way to put it.
right,
Would
right,
you agree?
Right. When
Yeah.
you go into a restaurant and what to expect to happen when you order a bottle of wine. I know you were saying that when you order a bottle of wine, you don't want to hide when they want to give you the taste. Well, one click right there is don't order the bottle of wine because they're going to bring it to you to taste it then.
So the person who orders the bottle of wine
Is the one they're going to hand it to.
Gotcha.
Right, right.
Okay.
And traditionally it's the man, which I get really offended about because
Right.
I'm the one usually ordering the wine, but then
Yeah.
then they're really confused. They
Now-
want to give the menu to the man.
Eve's Wine 101. It's a website. You're a writer. Tell us a little bit about you, your experiences, and why someone should care about what you have to say.
Oh my goodness. Well, everyone should care about what I have to say because I am the Santa Clarita Valley wine conduit. I am the one person writing about wine all the time. So I wrote for The Signal for many years. I write now for Eve's Wine 101 website, which has daily content. I've got 3 other writers on that. And then I also write for the West Ranch Beacon, which is a news website, and the Elite Magazine, Wine 101 article for them, and for the magazine Santa Clarita now and then with photos from events and short little articles. But I basically keep track of all the wine events in Santa Clarita Valley. So
You're
if you
going to
want,
start writing for sctvnews.com, right?
Sure. If you want something about wine, I can. I'm
Absolutely,
actually
we
very
do.
excited. I was just telling Dave about it. I'm going to be in the Our Valleys magazine in the next issue in February. And so Eve's Wine 101 will now be in Spanish.
Yeah,
Which
that's
was
awesome.
pretty cool. So I'm just your wine conduit. If there's something happening out here with wine, you want to go to Eve's Wine 101 or find me on Facebook.
Right.
And once you find me,
have a
Eve
huge
Bushman.
Facebook group.
Yeah, Eve Bushman on Facebook. Good
Yeah.
luck avoiding me
Yeah,
once you
so
find me.
when-
You will be tagged.
When we spoke about doing the Sierra Pelona Wine Festival, I reached out to Eve and I said, Eve, we need help. And when we first started the show, we had the ladies from Vino 100 on. And unfortunately,
Show number one.
it was our very first show. And unfortunately, their store has closed now. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to, I really, and when I went to the Circle of Hope Taste of the Town, which was a fabulous event, I even found myself then like, am I supposed to walk up and get all this stuff?
That was the Vine to Wine.
The Vine to Wine.
Yes.
Vine to Wine that used to be Betty Ferguson. Vine to Wine is now the Vine to Wine Classic, which was a
Yes.
morph of 2 events
Right.
for Circle of
Yeah,
Hope.
so that's why we have you here today, because I know
Okay.
people have questions like I
Yeah,
do.
well, just being in a restaurant, that was our first issue,
Yeah.
right? Was how do you want to behave in a restaurant? So if you don't want to be the one that tastes that we established, then don't order the wine. But you want me to go into it?
No, hang on just a second with
Okay.
that because when you are given the wine, what are you looking for? What are you wanting to do? You know, I talked about when I had that date years and years ago, and I was trying to impress this girl, and had the wine come in, and I was like, well, yeah, look at me, and
Well, the first
I
thing,
like it.
Okay, when we order the wine, the waiter's going to come back and he's going to show it to you first. And all you're doing then is double checking that's what you ordered.
Okay.
Just for a second.
Simple.
And then he's going to put it down and he's going to do what I'm going to do. He's going to open it up and give you a taste of it. And that's
Okay.
when you have a chance. And don't take too long. It's not a big thing. You're just going to swirl it, sniff it, and to have a little taste of it.
And I will be honest, there has been a time when I have returned it because it didn't taste right, and there was something with it that I didn't like.
Because it was that Boone's Farm.
It was no, it's because I was used to the Boone's Farm. I got the good stuff, and I was like, "What is wrong with this?"
Yeah, if it's got a real funny
The,
cardboardy kind of quality,
Yeah.
it's 10% of all wine can be what they call corked,
Right.
and it can be bad. So, but if you don't like it because I suddenly don't want white anymore, you
Right.
can't do that, Dave. You have to have it. You
have
can't
to
just
have
I
it. You
don't
can't go
personally
with
want
that.
the Boone's Farm now. I want to spend another $1.
It's like Steve Martin in The Jerk when he said, "Don't bring me this old stuff. Bring me the fresh wine." Yeah, he didn't know about that.
That's the jerk.
That's the jerk. He was the jerk in that one. Okay, so we order the wine. They're going to come. They're going to present it before they open it. What are we then looking for? And then is there also these tips that we can take when we are opening up our own bottles of wine?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So I've ordered my bottle. I've got my bottle. I'm at home or I'm at a restaurant.
This is the Reyes Winery Chardonnay, by the way.
This is my Valencia Wine Company corkscrew, which was a gift. This is a waiter's corkscrew. Most of the ones you use at home are the most easy one is the screw pull. So if you haven't seen that one, I should have brought that one today, but I don't use it anymore because, you know, I am a professional. This has a small little knife on the outside, a serrated little knife for your foil.
Now, hang on a second. Before you go into that, I'd like to...
I'm ready for the wine.
I know you really
It's
are.
driving me to drink,
no,
Dave.
I just wanted you to hold this up so that people can see that, so they can get a good shot in the
See where's this
camera.
Valencia Wine Company.
But then we want to see the serrated
serrated
edge
edge.
right there. And I don't know if you got a good shot of that, Morris.
In Valencia Wine Company, you can make your donation to STV
yeah. And you
it's
too
for
can ask for
advertising.
your corkscrew.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to
By the way.
hold this down with my index. I'm a little bit chilly, so. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going
freezing
to
in
whirl
here.
it around just below the lip. You see that lip of the bottle? That's all I'm going to do.
Why?
See, I always go up above there.
No,
See?
Well,
no,
you-
because then you're going to get caught in another little lip. You need a little bit of room. You can't go up here.
Okay.
Because then you're driving into the cork there.
Yeah.
So you're going here, and then when I get to the end, I just flip it up a little bit like that. Okay?
Okay, now, why are you taking this off? Why not just put the corkscrew through the foil, pull the cork
That's
out?
just not how it's done,
Okay.
Dave.
Well, I didn't know if there was a
They're
specific
called a
reasoning.
romance to opening a bottle,
Yeah.
and it's a whole dilemma of now having the cork, the screw cap
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
That there's no romance to it, and there's actually a guy that invented a little doohickey like this. It's a fake corkscrew to remove your
screw
screw
top?
cap wine, so it's still romantic. I'm a fan of screw cap wines because they don't have the 10% failed wines with the corkage, the corked
Mm-hmm.
wines. Okay, I have the little. I pull that out. I put my knife away. Very important to put your knife
Yeah,
away.
no kidding.
Okay, and you see the little sharp end there.
Yeah.
You drive it right in the center.
Did you go in there at an angle a little bit?
I did it at an angle just
Okay.
to get it in. Here, I'll pull it back out.
Okay.
I'm in the center of my cork. I go in at an angle. I drive it in, and I start to turn.
Okay.
Okay.
And it just goes in by itself.
Well, I'm turning it.
Well, yeah, I know, but yeah.
There are two little, and there's probably a word
I
for
was
it.
going to take it somewhere, David.
You see the hinges? There's a hinge at the bottom, and then there's another hinge up here. So I can just pull it out with that, and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to get it out that way, so I can either drive it in some more, do it again.
Yeah. There you go.
That wasn't quite clean. It's nice if it's clean, there's no little cork edges coming off.
You know, what you have in the bottom here?
This is crystallized wine, that's all.
Okay.
Doesn't mean anything.
Okay, good, good.
And if I'm your waiter and I just did that whole thing,
Yes.
this goes back in my apron, this is left from the table, and I might hand you this cork.
Why?
Because I want to show it to you and make sure that it's okay with you. You're just checking that it's
So what-
clean.
but
What
am I-
makes it not okay?
You're just, if there was a hole in it, and you
On
might
the
have had
sides or
some air seepage in it. Normally, it's just a tradition to hand it to you.
Yeah.
You take a look at it. This is what you don't do, because there's nothing off this cork. That will show
Makes
right off the
sense.
bat you don't know what you're doing if you go to smell the cork.
Gotcha.
Some people do it still
Good to
because
know.
it's what they used to do.
Good to know.
All right, now it's all clean. I like it if a guy the waiter has a towel wrapped around here.
Yes, yes.
And I'm going to pour you an ounce pour. You can count to 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that, and that gives you your pour.
All right.
And then I'm going to hand you your glass.
Now, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. So how am I going to now take the glass? What do I do with it? So I want you to now take the glass, like you have been handed it.
Okay.
Because what are you going to look to do with it, and what are you looking, and why?
Okay, well, first I'm going to look and make sure that the little handy dandy wine identifier that I use at home is the one I chose. Because I don't want your wine and you don't want my wine. And if I have more than 2 people in my house, I don't mind sharing with my husband. I use the wine identifiers.
But God help you if you share it with me.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
it's
saying?
not a good thing.
Yeah. I don't know if we got a good shot of these down here, but we've got
All right.
the wine identifiers down here on the
Right.
base.
You hold your wine by your stem. If you hold your wine by the bowl, it's going to end up getting fingerprints everywhere, but also starts warming up your wine, and you don't want your wine warm.
True.
So you swirl this way. I have a friend that swirls that way. I can't do it quite that way. All you're doing here in the swirling action is opening it up, opening up aromas.
Aerating it a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what that little doohickey's for if you don't want to wait.
We'll get to that one in a
Yeah.
little bit. Oh, great. You
And-
just broke it, Trixie. Way to go.
Okay, so all I'm doing is aerating my wine and looking at the color. And I will note the color. If you check it out, when you look at it, the edge is a different color than the center. And I make notations about
See
the
if you
color
can-
of my wine.
See if you can angle that towards that camera right there to see if we can get the Do we see the difference in the color?
I see
Can
some
you see
dust
that?
in my glass.
I see fingerprints.
Yeah, don't look at that.
Crying
But
out
it's a
loud.
little bit golden at the edge, at this angle. But the way to really tell your color of your wine is to hold over a white sheet of paper. And now you can see the golden edge and more of a clear center. And you might have to describe the color of your wine. This might be pale butter or hay, or pick a word that, I just did my hair. Okay. All right, and then we're going to evaluate it. Everything looks good there. There's no cork floating in my glass.
Now, in addition to aerating it, aren't you also looking, as you're doing this, for legs?
Legs just basically tells you how much alcohol is in your wine. It doesn't mean anything good or bad about your wine, but it is a description. It's just an observation. Just like noting if there's cork in your wine. Doesn't mean anything's wrong, just you're making an observation about your wine.
Gotcha.
Now,
The legs happen when you do
around
that.
A while, but if you're in a restaurant and they actually give it to you to swirl, how long are you doing a swirl?
For my taste, before I send the waiter away, for like a second. I mean, really, I just do that and taste and say fine and let him go, because it's, unless you're at a wine
tasting.
tasting.
Over to Salt Creek later with his glass for 5 minutes. And
Yeah, it's doing some swirling. Hang on, pal.
Well, that's another.
Eve told me I can do this.
The problem in ordering by the glass, though, is they're going to pour your wine up to usually the widest point in the glass. That's how it aerates. But it's a lot more difficult to swirl a fuller glass of wine than it is to swirl that little taste. So, and you also don't want to order by the glass if you don't have to.
Tammy's sitting there thinking, you know what? It's getting close to 9. I need to start drinking.
I'm jonesing over here.
But if you had ordered that wine by the glass, you don't know how long it's been open behind the bar. So it's always best to get a bottle. You can always
and that's one thing
take it
about me
home.
is I can taste. I've got very strong taste buds, and I can taste if a bottle's been open for like a day, even a day. It just has a different taste to me.
Are you talking about your whites, your reds, or in general?
The whites.
Okay, and when you have it and you leave it for the next day, how do you store it?
I
I should have brought another toy for you.
just put the cork back in it,
Okay.
and then I put it
All
back
right.
in the
All
wine
right.
fridge.
Your-
But I can even tell at a restaurant.
Okay,
though,
your
but it just
white
drives me crazy.
wine and your red wine can go for 24 hours for me at least. And I didn't bring it. It's the little sucky thing. You put it looks like a cork, but it's made from plastic and it has a plunger that you sit and plunge it, and
Yes.
you're removing the
I do
air
have
from
one
it.
of those, yes.
Use that.
Okay.
And your white will go in your fridge. For some reason, the white's going to stay better in the fridge. You can leave your red out. One trick of the trade is if you didn't really care for that red, just leave it out all night without a cork in it at all. It's usually the better the next day, like spaghetti
Really?
sauce. It's better the next day.
And if it's not, put it in some spaghetti sauce.
That's right. You can always cook with it.
Okay, well, we need to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the Sierra Pelona Wine Festival and how to be etiquette there, I guess would be
Yes,
the words.
how to behave.
Yes, how to behave, but more importantly, how to have fun and enjoy
sure.
yourself. So stay with us.
And more importantly, we're going to drink some of this wine. We're going to start, I think, when we're going break.
That's right.
Stay tuned. Welcome back into SEV Today. We are talking with Eve Bushman from Eve's Wine 101, and we are getting ourselves educated on wine etiquette. Where we left off, we are at a restaurant. The waiter has poured it. You have aerated it. We pick it up by the stem, and we're going to swirl it in order to aerate it. Now we're going to taste it.
Right.
What are we looking for?
Flavor? Did you smell it first?
I just smelled it.
What did you get from the smell?
I get goodness. I get joy. I'm happy.
Try and think of a fruit. You know, with a white wine or red wine, just think of a fruit that comes out of you, and it should sometimes follow through from the aroma into also the flavor. This one, you just had it.
Yeah.
On the nose has some lemon and some peach and some melon,
I
like
get some
cantaloupe
peach.
or honeydew. It's very subjective. As soon as I say that, now you will get peach.
Yeah. Now, but when I tasted it, I'm telling, and this is Reyes Chardonnay.
That's the tasting process.
I didn't taste it right. What
You're
saying?
chewing it a little bit and rolling it around in your mouth. You can
Okay.
feel it all over.
Tammy?
Oh, it's got a honey
what she
quality.
You
just
see
did.
my face? I'm like, what?
What the heck?
You don't have to do it because they're real wine people, really like head sommeliers will sit there and make this noise where they suck
Well, that's
air
aerating
over
it.
it.
I was taught that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really? Go ahead and show us then, Dave.
Okay.
Because I would have trouble doing that without like losing it. There you go. I just told you to ask for it.
I'm inhaling
So
my
I
wine.
prefer to chew than to aerate over my tongue, but you can.
That's good. Okay, now while I'm doing this.
Water.
I just sip my wine.
Well, no, you're supposed to taste it the way she says you're supposed to
If
taste
you
it.
can spend some time thinking about what's going in your mouth, it would be nice. Okay, let me back up a little bit.
Yeah,
The
because
theory
there are things
is,
that go in this mouth.
the theory is,
Wait, I'm thinking.
instead of eating in front of the TV, you go to a restaurant, you're thinking
Still
more about
thinking.
your food and what you've spent for that steak and how good it tastes. It should be the same with your wine. It should be the same with life. If you're going to savor your wine, you're going to savor more things in life. Don't try don't open. Don't lose it again.
Best line ever.
That was.
Eve Bushman. Tammy, you need to think more about what you put in your mouth.
Oh, man.
I didn't say more.
All right, now real quick, before this degenerates into an R-rated program, or worse, tell us, I broke it. Tell us about
Yeah.
your aerator here that you can use at home.
This is a sample. This is Venair. I also have Ventura. I also have a pocket one. I keep this and this in my purse at all times, okay? If your wine, I've done this actually at wine bars too. If your wine,
You really keep this in your purse at all times?
I have the purse size one, Tammy.
Oh my gosh.
It's very cool. But if I'm at a wine bar and I'm getting something by the glass, I might ask for a second glass because if this isn't doing it for me, I'm going to do this. All this does, these little holes, you can hardly see it on the side, that actually bubble into your wine. And all it's doing is adding air to it. So it's the same thing you're doing here, but it's quicker. And you can use this and put it back in your bottle. That's the way that one's made.
Oh.
But you can pour this through here into a decanter if you wanted to. You can also do it per glass,
Right.
into a glass.
And it's aerating it, which
It's aerating.
enhances the flavor of the wine.
For some wines. An aerator is not necessary
Really?
for all wines. A lot of times people will do it on a young wine to age it. So if you taste your red wine, it's like, oh, this is too fruity. It doesn't taste quite right to me. Leave it out, make spaghetti sauce, or try your aerator.
Right.
Spaghetti sauce.
But sometimes you'll see an aerator at a wine bar,
I am
or
blown
they'll
away
have
that you keep
decanters.
this in your purse at all times.
I get you the little one. Yeah.
I think that's great.
I get a lot of gifts. That was a gift.
Now, we are going to be at the Sierra Pelona Wine Festival. You're going to be there
Absolutely.
as well. And you had a
Drinking
question
that.
about etiquette at the Sierra Pelona Wine Festival?
Well, I mean, we really don't have a lot of time for me to go
No.
into all of it, so we're going to have to link people to your website so they can get questions
Okay,
too, because I know
okay.
other people have the same questions that I do. So when you go there, it's okay to just walk up to every vendor
Every table.
and
Right. And they're going to do what we did. They're going to give you that 1 ounce pour that I poured you.
Right.
You're going to smell it if you can. Swirl it, sniff it, smell it, drink it. Pour out what you don't drink. You don't have to drink the whole thing they give you, 2
Right.
ounces. All they're going to give you, you want to expectorate, spit it out or pour it out because you're going to have a lot of vendors to visit with that day. A lot of winemakers and
now
people.
is it back? So, at the Circle of Hope Vine to Wine, the Schwartzes were serving Camus.
Oh yeah.
Well, I love Camus. So is it bad to go back 2 or 3 times to the same booth?
Well, it's not bad, but they may tell you you can only come one time. At the Belgian Beer Fest, that was we'll give everyone. We want to make sure everyone at least gets a pour of it. But one of the other things you can do is make friends. And Schwartz is Robert and Annie you're talking about. Yeah, they're lovely people. All those people that were sharing their own wines from their own cellars are great people. But what happens at a wine event is if you are polite to your host, your winemaker, whoever you're sharing that with, you tell them how much you like the wine. Sometimes they have something special under the table. You don't you don't always know, but they don't always have it. But you might see him pouring something for himself or one of his friends, and if you're nice to him and you compliment his wine and you spend time with him, you might be rewarded.
There you go.
That's quite.
But be polite, don't drink too much, and take a limo.
Take a
The
limo
groups
there.
groups that might be going, it would be a lovely drive from LA or from Santa Clarita to take a limo over,
Good idea.
past La Chine and all that, and
And
see
I've
that
got
beautiful.
a great contact for a good limo, so email me. So
Yeah.
that's great. So we're going to connect our viewers through our website to you, so they can ask them their own questions
Absolutely.
and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to ask you a lot more,
Well,
but
you
I
can
just got
email
so
me
excited.
too, eve@eveswine101.com.
That's pretty
Perfect.
simple.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty simple. Eve, thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Everybody, a toast.
I feel like I'm going to have to leave
look
in
at
you
that.
my bottle here, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Go for it.
You are leaving it, unless you're going to sit back and drink in the parking lot with us. That's going to do it for us today on SCV Today. We thank Gail Pinsker and Amy Daniels for being with us to talk about the Wish Education Foundation. And of course, we thank Eve Bushman for being with us today, educating us on the wine. And don't forget the Sierra Pelona Wine Festival that's coming up on January 26th. That's a Saturday. I believe, if I remember right, the times are 11 to 4. I think it is something. Go to our website, SCV Today. Go to eves101.com.
Or, eveswine101.com, without the S. because I think
Eve.
Eve's wine. So evewine101.com. And you
Right.
can also go to reyeswinery.com to find out all the details because there's VIP tickets, right? And
Right.
so you can get in early.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here and sharing a part of your day with us. We hope you have a good rest of your day.